There appears to be, though, two problems here, and maybe many more. But one is just potentially a straight Ponzi scheme, meaning taking money, pretending people had it, that they didn't have it, and then going off and using it themselves, right? That would be considered just straight up theft, if in fact that's what it is. The secondary piece has to do with valuations, what these tokens were really worth, whether these tokens are being manipulated, and the like. And I raise that as an issue because there's been an argument that if you actually don't, quote unquote, like the coins, like the tokens, like the crypto itself, that regulating that, if you don't think it's controllable, creates its own conundrum.
So the first issue you raise is as old as time. Fraudsters are going to defraud investors if they get any chance to do that. At least malign actors like Sam Bankman-Fried has shown himself to be. And so this is an old school fraud with a new piece of technology wrap. That's what this is. This is not new. You can have markings throughout the last few hundred years that are analogous to this situation. The second piece is one that we've got to provide clarity. What we've seen, for instance, regimes around the globe have tried to cut off the internet. And their people have found a mechanism to use the internet. Well, this is internet money, in essence. So it's going to be very difficult for one regulatory regime to simply say lights out to the flow of bits, bytes, and packets. And so what we have to do is have a regulatory regime, a durable regulatory regime, so we can both protect investors and innovation here. If this is the cornerstone of the next internet, the foundation stone of technology for the next internet, we want to make sure it's done here in the United States with a rule of law and property rights connected with it, and a durable regime so that investors are protected and the innovation can flourish here. And so that's what I'm focused on, is that balance between consumer protection and innovation. Right. And it's going to be up to Congress to provide that clarity.
Let me ask you, though, a separate question, which is Sam Bankman-Fried made a huge amount of donations to lobby, effectively, politicians in Washington. What should happen to that money at this point?
Well, it's up to members that took the money. It's up to the politicians that took the money. And, you know, my view on political money has always been that if the person who's writing the check is supporting the cause of the person whose campaign is receiving it. And so what we saw in D.C. is Sam Bankman-Fried litter the place with both not just politicians but the media as well to get better coverage and to get what he wanted out of the process. What I think is happening here is people are going to be able to see for themselves what he was trying to do. And the public will make a judgment about that, just like the media is making a judgment about that. And people will be held accountable for that. And that's all we can do at this point.
Do you believe that some of that money has been donated to charities, other money has been kept, ultimately, do you think that money should go back to creditors?
So I'm the chair of the House Financial Services Committee. I think members were going to ask some type of question like that to John Ray, who's a bankruptcy expert. And I leave that up to the rule of law, not the opinion of one politician.
And do you think that Sam Bankman-Fried bought off Washington? I know you think that there's been influence in the media and elsewhere. He clearly made investments in a number of media organizations.
He tried. He tried. And if you look at the interview, not just the one you did with DealBook, which I would commend to anybody who's interested in the space, but his interview he did with Vox, it shows that he was a manipulator of world-class capacity, and he was trying to pull off something that was light touch regulation for his platform. And that's why he worked both the Securities Exchange Commission and the CFTC, seeking out a CFTC or commodities regulatory regime for his platform. So what I'm looking at is a proper balance so that consumers will not fall prey to FTX or some successor to Sam Bankman-Fried.
Congressman, wouldn't it be pretty easy to change the rules so that the SEC could protect investor interest in this? I mean, that's what they were created for. Isn't there a way to just say, yes, they can make sure that investors aren't being defrauded? Can't Congress fairly simply do that?
Yes, and because the Securities Exchange Commission has failed to do that, we have to step in. Congress has to step in. What we've seen under the Gensler regime is he said, come on in and talk to me. Their reference from the Securities Exchange Commission is they refer to FTX as a unregulated crypto exchange. Well, there is no means to be a regulated crypto exchange here in the United States. There is no law that creates that structure, nor any regulation from the SEC. The one decision that Gary Gensler's made that has had an impact today is a lack of custody regulation for digital assets. And the SEC has made a proactive decision on custody that is problematic for consumers. I think we have to highlight that over a period of time and a number of hearings to come in order to get clarity and build out a solid regime, regulatory regime, and force of law.